The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ACEC Financial Wellness webinar series featuring today's guest, Empower Retirement. We appreciate all of you taking the time to join us today. A few items to go over before we get started. First, in order to ensure everyone has the ability to hear the information presented by our guest speaker, everyone will be on mute during the webinar. Second, please feel free to write in any questions you have using the Q&A tool on the webinar menu. We will be sure to pass these along to Great West Empower, and in regards to SecureFoundation, they will follow up and answer those questions for you. And now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker from Empower, John Abramson. John is a client relationship manager with Empower Retirement. John is responsible for the strategic level aspects of the relationship between ACEC Retirement Trust and Empower Retirement. He leads a team of experts, including the account managers, communication consultants, and compliance analysts. John joined Empower Retirement in 2010. He has more than 17 years of experience in the retirement industry. Prior to joining Empower, John worked for Merrill Lynch as a client relationship manager. John earned a BA in Economics and Political Science from Ashland University and currently maintains FINRA Series 6 and 23 securities registrations. Thank you for leading us through this webinar today, John, and now we'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much, and I hope everyone's doing great today. Coming to you here from Denver, Colorado, where it's looked like Seattle for the last month. As a matter of fact, on the news last night, they showed us that we have seen less sunshine here in Denver in the month of May than Seattle has, and we've had more rain in the month of May than Seattle has, and we've had 2 inches of snow to top that off. So welcome. I hope you're all doing great today. The purpose of our discussion today is really around SecureFoundation, and we're going to kind of discuss some of the ins and outs of it. We're going to also talk and look at a little bit about how SecureFoundation works. And it is a presentation, though, for general education purposes. We can't give specific legal, financial, or tax advice. You want to consult your accountant or attorney for more information there as well. So our agenda for this course today, we're going to start off there we go. We're going to start off discussing retirement itself and kind of what does that mean, and we're seeing some differences in what retirement might mean for some people out there. We'll talk about retirement income and how that income can come to us, some of the risks associated with retirement, and then we'll talk about the SecureFoundation product itself, how it works, and some of the investment in that fund as well. Now, just as some quick background here, the Great West life and annuity insurance company owns Great West Financial, and Great West Financial is the one who offers the SecureFoundation product. They also own Empower Retirement, who is your record keeper and provider for the plans within the ACEC Retirement Trust as well there. It's one of the nation's leading providers of retirement planning solutions. We are now the second largest retirement plan record keeper in the United States. So it gives us the strength and stability that we need there with 7.2 million participants on our systems, and we do provide the administrative education and communication services there for retirement plans. Now, these days, I think we hear a lot about the Generation X and Generation Y. We see it on the news every night, some of those terms, even the greatest generation. It seems like every generation out there has got its own label going on. And it seems like the first generation that any of us can remember that really received its own name was that baby boomer generation. And that is looked at as folks that were typically born between 1946 and 1964. They did become one of the largest ever population surges. That means there are a lot of babies out there. And then something odd happened to those baby boomers. They grew up, they got jobs, they bought some homes, they had kids, and then time passed, and now all of a sudden those baby boomers are approaching retirement age. I kind of think it's funny that the generation that coined that phrase out there of don't trust anyone over 30 is now turning 60. And the big deal on this one is really that we're seeing those boomers in the news because a huge chunk of that population are now approaching retirement. And as that happens, many experts out there are worried about the budgetary impact on programs like Social Security and Medicare. And the population of retirees are going to grow faster than the tax-paying workforce that funds some of these programs. And there's a widespread suspicion that many boomers are financially unprepared for retirement. So if you're a boomer yourself, these issues start to get very personal for us. You're probably wondering how you're going to fund your own retirement. You're going to be concerned about the expenses that you'll face and looking for ways to increase that retirement income as well. When we think about retirement, we tend to think about expenses. We've got our housing, healthcare, travel, and this list is going to vary from person to person. Talking to several people out there that really look forward to a retirement, spending time with children, grandchildren, and doing some of those things. And of course, Social Security can be part of the answer. And if you've got pension benefits out there from the lucky few that have the traditional pension, that can certainly help as well. But also, we're going to have potentially some more expenses in retirement, healthcare becoming a major portion of those. And as we look forward to this in retirement, one of the big questions out there is how long is that retirement income going to last? And one of the big concerns here is going to be using that retirement savings that we have developed and that we've taken for retirement income. And some of the challenges there are really around saving for that long-term retirement income, staying invested when the markets go up, retiring as we planned. But also that can mean putting our savings at risk. And anyone who watched our retirement savings dip with the market, and as the market goes up and down, we see these things happen on some of our statements out there and things like that. We know that the bad effects that risk can have on that retirement and how scary sometimes that can get for some of us. So some of us are going to have to postpone our retirement to lower the income expectations because of recent market downturns and some of the numbers that we've seen out there as well. So some of the retirement risks out there, though, beyond just some of the ones that we inherently know about, we do have different risks, and these risks can vary depending upon how old you are when you retire, what the market's doing when you retire, and so everybody's retirement will be a little bit different because the way each of us are preparing for that retirement can be different as well. Retirees do face a lot of the same risks, though, leading up to and through their retirement years. Sometimes it can be really easy to prepare for these risks, and sometimes it really isn't. Awareness is going to be important for us, but understanding how to address the potential risks that you might face is equally important. Now, the risk of the market going down can obviously affect us in different ways. You might have to reduce the amount of money that you're going to be able to take out of your retirement savings. You may need to consider delaying that retirement date out until the market can recover, and they may not recover at all. In addition, being too conservative can also be an issue. If you're not taking advantage of that rising market, that can be a risk in retirement. If you're invested too conservatively, you run the risk of not having the value of your accounts keep up with inflation and some of the other pieces out there. And believe it or not, living too long can be a risk for us in retirement as well. And we're certainly all hoping out there that we're going to have a long and enjoyable retirement. But if we start to plan a retirement of 20 years, and that 20 years turns into 25 years, that can end up being a risk for us there. And it's interesting to see some of the statistics and some of the changes that we've seen out there related to retirement. For a 65-year-old couple that's retiring today, there's a 70% chance that one of them are going to live to age 90. And there's a 13% chance that one of them will live to age 100. Matter of fact, my grandpa turned 98 recently, and I went by to see him recently and stopped by at 6:15 at night, and he was already sound asleep. So I guess that's one of the things you get to do when you are 98 years old. But those numbers are numbers that we didn't see previously in generations in the past. If you were in the 70s or 75s, those were getting up there in years. And so now as we look at some of these numbers, we need to have the adequate assets and planning for retirement that can last 20 to 30 years or even longer. And without some of that proper planning, many retirees can be concerned about being a burden to their children, or they may be able to set themselves up just to be a burden to those children. We want to avoid those things. So the first step in planning is going to know how much retirement income we're going to need. Many financial advisors out there are saying you need somewhere between 70 and 90% of your pre-retirement earnings to comfortably maintain your standard of living. And we see differing numbers on what we're going to need out there, and it's obviously, if we can get on the higher side of that, if we can get more towards the 90%, that's certainly going to be better for us there. But really 70%, if that's the number we're going for, Social Security is only going to supply a fraction of that 70%. We're going to need money coming in from other sources. And no matter how we've fared in the market, whether we've saved a little or a lot, we can outlive those savings. The longer we live, the greater that chance. And Great West is excited for SecureFoundation because that is a secure benefit out there that we have, and that's what we're discussing today. Now, one thing is this is available only in certain states, and there are a few states that have plans to participate in the trust that where these funds are not available to us today, and New York being one of them. Now, SecureFoundation does offer a new way for us to save for retirement, and this is offered in conjunction with an investment in SecureFoundation fund. It does help you to build a foundation for a more secure retirement, offering a strategy for people who aren't really satisfied with that usual trade-off that we can see between protecting our retirement income and staying invested in growing markets. Best of all, though, it requires and offers a retirement income for life with the comfort of knowing that we can't outlive that retirement income. And this is the huge benefit associated with SecureFoundation, is the ability to know that you can't outlive that income. And now we have less of that concern about living into the 90s or beyond there as well. Now, based upon some statistics that are really central to the retirement planning process, SecureFoundation can be that solution that many of us are looking for. 46% of the workers out there indicate that they are either very likely or somewhat likely to buy or choose a guaranteed income product. They like that guarantee. They like knowing that they've got that money coming to them in retirement. But only 33% of workers out there report that either they or their spouse has some sort of a defined benefit plan with either a current or a former employer. So now they don't have that reliability of that defined benefit plan that will pay them in retirement. And only 6% of workers are very confident that the Social Security system will continue to provide benefits of at least equal value to the benefits received by retirees today. These numbers can be quite staggering and be a little bit concerning for some of us as well. Now, this graphic that we see here is going to show us how SecureFoundation works. And it's important not to confuse the covered fund value, that number in blue there, with the benefit base that we see here in brown. So as we look at SecureFoundation here, we look at somebody who's out there and they start off in the accumulation phase. That's what we see there in those first few years. During this time, we have an individual who is beginning to invest in that. So we have and we'll see that more on some of the slides coming up here as well. But we have our initial investment coming in. So we see that as being the dollars coming into the fund. We have our covered fund value there in blue. Now, the benefit base is going to be used to calculate guaranteed income lifetime payments. It does not have a monetary value and is different from the covered fund value. The benefit base is related to the covered fund value in that it will be adjusted up or down if the covered value is greater than the benefit base on the anniversary date. But these changes can change over time, and we'll see that on the next few slides. So we're going to start off looking at the benefit base, and we see how they work during the accumulation phase. So the benefit base is established when the first investment in a SecureFoundation fund is made. So as I start to contribute to that fund, I'm going to establish a benefit base. Now, the benefit base is going to be set, and then each year as we're accumulating out there, we're going to look at a ratchet date. And during that accumulation phase, it's on the anniversary, the first contribution is established. And what we're doing there is we're constantly looking back to say, has the market gone up or down, and has the fund value gone up or down? And if the fund value increases, we'll increase that the benefit base on the ratchet date. So that is done annually. So we can see an example here of some money coming into the fund. You can see those big black squares on there are money coming into the fund. And we see that coming in over the first year. Well, then in the third and fourth year there, we're going to see a significant market downturn where we've had the market go way down. Now, the great news is because of how the SecureFoundation fund works, we've got a dotted line in there that shows our benefit base, and that benefit base is going to remain the same even when the fund value decreases. But in this particular case, the participant continued to remain employed and continue to work and invest and do those things, so survived that, and the market went up afterwards. And as the market went up afterwards, they continued to have their benefit base readjusted each year annually there as well. So we can see we've got the upside potential, but have less concern about a downside and a downward market turn as we are during our accumulation phase. So as the covered value has increased, the benefit base has gone up. And that's done every year on that ratchet date as they look and they compare back to where we were there from before. Now, once we get into the guaranteed annual withdrawal phase, this is where the individual begins to retire. And notice how the benefit base, that dotted line in there, remains consistent even though the covered fund value decreases. And the covered fund value is decreasing for a couple of reasons. One is we've got some market downturn, but also we've got money taken out. So in this hypothetical illustration, the participant retired in year 10, which triggered the guaranteed annual withdrawal phase, and the payments began. Now, the guaranteed annual withdrawal, or the GAW, is the annualized withdrawal amount that's guaranteed for a lifetime, or for the lifetime of the participant and their spouse if they elect a joint withdrawal. Now, the ratchet date, again, is going to change as we go through this as well during this phase. So each year on the anniversary of taking the money out, we're going to readjust that ratchet date there too. And this is important because if the market were to go up during that time and the covered fund value increased, you can actually continue with a higher benefit base. So this is looked at each year, and we do adjust that out according to weekends and those things too if we need to move them there. But the covered value in this example here is dropped due to market performance. But if this happens, the participant does receive the previously locked in higher benefit base, which will maintain the guaranteed withdrawal amount. So participants can still benefit, though, from the positive market because the benefit base will ratchet up if the covered fund value is higher than the benefit base on that anniversary date. So in the event that the market went way up during the time that you've retired, you potentially have the option of those amounts going up and increasing without having any downside risk of the market going down in there. Now, as we get further and further along in retirement, you're going to notice in the highlighted section of this illustration that we see the participant lifetime retirement income continues at that same amount for the rest of that participant's life, even though their covered fund value has dropped down to zero. So in this case, the participant has at year 21 there, we can see that we've gone down to zero. So we've no longer got any covered fund value left, but because of the guarantee associated with SecureFoundation, we're in a settlement phase, which means that they're going to continue to pay until you pass away as we go through here. This is one of the big benefits. We can't outlive that SecureFoundation. So SecureFoundation does protect our retirement income when the market goes down. That's where that guarantee is very important. The market decreases can decrease your SecureFoundation covered fund value, but that's not going to affect your benefit base. This is important because we can continue to have a guaranteed withdrawal as we go in for life here. With SecureFoundation, our retirement income remains locked in even if the market drops. So as the market goes up or down, we continue with that locked in amount. This does mean you can retire knowing that you'll never outlive income from your SecureFoundation fund. You're going to keep on getting your regular retirement income in the guaranteed annual withdrawal phase and the settlement phase. Now, there is a possibility that you may never need that guaranteed income benefit that the SecureFoundation provides. For example, if you're guaranteed annual withdrawals, you may never exhaust your SecureFoundation covered fund value, but you still got that should you outlive that and should that covered fund value ever get exhausted. Now, SecureFoundation does help to adjust some of the retirement risks that we discussed earlier in our presentation today around reaching that guaranteed trigger date. So we've got our guarantee that's locked in, and that's going to be locked in now. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that the guarantee fee is out there, and you're going to be paying that, and that's at 0.9% of the covered fund value, and Great West can change that fee with 30 days notice, but it will never be higher than 1.5% or lower than 0.7% of the covered fund value. Now, the SecureFoundation fund that we have available to us in the ACEC Retirement Trust is a SecureFoundation Balanced Fund. The SecureFoundation Balanced Fund is something that you can invest in at any point in time. It's typically looked at for somebody that might consider investing this about 10 years prior to retirement in order to start to lock in and have that amount locked in where we've got that guarantee. But the guarantee does kick in the day that you invest into the fund. Now, the Balanced Fund maintains an investment ratio of 60% stock and 40% bond of the underlying funds. Again, with the first contribution to the fund, you've got 100% of your covered fund value establishes that benefit base. Now remember that because you got the guarantee kicking in right away, you are going to begin paying the guarantee benefit fee immediately. And again, these fees range from 0.7% to 1.5%. It's currently at 0.9% of the covered fund value. It is paid for by redemption of the shares as we go through here. Now, as we think about this retirement piece, one of the questions out there always comes off of, well, how is this going to work now when I actually choose to retire? We're going to look at the benefit base again, the number that you've established out there, and then you're going to have a guaranteed annual withdrawal percentage associated with that number. Now these are going to be based upon how old you are when you retire. So what we look at is if you retire between 55 and 64, you're going to receive 4% as your guaranteed annual withdrawal. That guarantee is for life. If you retire at between 65 and 69, you're going to be at 5%. Between 70 and 79, you're going to be at 6%. And if you retire 80 or beyond, you're going to get 7%, again, for life. Now, should you choose to base this upon joint life expectancy, which between you and a spouse, you do get a 50 basis point reduction. So instead of 4%, 5%, 6%, or 7%, you'd have 3.5%, 4.5%, 5.5%, or 6.5% based upon that. And remember, you do get this income guaranteed out there for life. So this is something to consider as we prepare for retirement. Thank you for the opportunity to present today, and we're going to open it up now to any questions that any of you may have.
Great. Thank you so much, John, for leading us through that presentation, and we appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge with us here today. And as John mentioned, we will now start addressing some of the questions that have been filtering in. Please remember that if you have any questions, you can submit them using the Q&A tool on the webinar menu. And as always, you can reach out to ACECRT's Financial Wellness Help Center.